Hello and welcome to Will Expo, and it is time for the third and final part of my making a non-league club rich experiment. I chose my local side South Shields, and after 20 years they have made it all the way to the Championship. Their progress has been steady, but now they are just one promotion away from reaching the top flight of English football. But can they do it? I'm going to give them another 10 years. Let's see if South Shields Football Club can go all the way from the Northern Premier League Premier Division to the actual Premier League. Let's go. Right, this is where we left things in part 2 on the 10th of June 2040. South Shields coming 19th in the Sky Bet Championship. They've had a good few years in the second tier. They're solidifying themselves there. I do have a little bit of an issue here with money. They're very rich, but they've also had financial fair play issues. But the reputation going up as well, that's up to 3-star. Everything's pretty much going in the right direction with David Marshall calling the shots. What I'm going to do now is simulate another year into the future. Let's see where the land lies in 2041. Right, here we are, the 10th of June 2041, and once again South Shields have came 19th in the Championship, which isn't great for our promotion prospects, but at least we are still in the Championship. They've survived 8 points clear of Huddersfield Town, who came 22nd. Let's check South Shields out. They've got 51 points on the board, and once again it looks like they've had financial fair play problems. Yep, the club failed the Sky Bet Championship financial fair play regulations. They've done it every season they've been in the Championship. They desperately need to get out of this division because this is really hindering them. This season they've not spent that much money. Only Jack Collins coming from Watford. He cost 6.25 million quid. The rest of them, Shane Williams, he was a bargain. The other signings, all loan deals. Let's check the South Shields schedule out, see if they had any luck in any of the cup competitions. League Cup went on a little bit of a run, made it to the 4th round where they were beaten by Arsenal. Big game at the South Shields Stadium. And in the FA Cup they were beaten in the 5th round by the other big boys of North London, this time Tottenham Hotspur. In terms of derbies, they got a 1-1 draw with Newcastle. Middlesbrough, that would kind of be a derby, they drew with them as well. In the reverse fixtures they were absolutely spanked 4-0 off Newcastle at the South Shields Stadium. And in the return fixture against Middlesbrough, they drew 1-1. No derby with Sunderland because they incredibly are in the Premier League now in 2041. But after 21 seasons, South Shields, they've had, is this their 4th or 5th season in the Championship? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 seasons in a row. They're going into their 5th season. Things are looking okay. But the issue is they keep failing financial fair play. They're not getting a points deduction, so that's fine. But this is proven to be a little bit of an issue. But what I'm going to do now is, for the rest of this part 3, I'm going to keep going 3 years into the future each time until we hit the magic 2050. By then, surely we'll have been in the Premier League. Let's simulate in the future. Let's go 3 years. We'll go to 2044. Let's see what happens then. Right, here we are, the 9th of June 2044, another 3 years into the future, and in the 3 years we've been away, South Shields won the playoffs, went up to the Premier League, and came straight back down. And in the most recent season, they have just been beaten in the playoffs. They finished 6th in the Sky Bet Championship, but they were beaten by Leicester in the semi-finals. Let's have a little look at the history, because obviously the season after we left, they went up. They finished 6th in 2042 with 70 points, sneaking into the playoffs. And it was them that won it. They won the playoffs, beating Leicester City on penalties to go up, sending them to the Premier League for the first time in their history. Of course, it didn't go very well because South Shields went straight down. They finished rock bottom with 32 points. They weren't a million miles away from survival. They were 3 points behind Fulham, who came 17th. So it was pretty close. They got the same points as Newcastle. They were only 2 points shy of Forest. So for a Premier League first season, it could have been a lot worse. But they did also come rock bottom, which is quite bad. And in the most recent season, they've been beaten in the playoffs once again. Well, not once again, because last time they were in it, they won. They've been beaten in the playoffs, losing 2-1 to Leicester City, the team they beat in the finals last time out. Let's have a little look at the transfers, see what kind of money they've been spending. And it turns out it is big money. Clearly the financial... Actually, before we go any further, let's have a little look, see if they've had any more financial woes. The last time we looked was in 2041. They had that financial fair play hindrance. Since then, it seems to have been fine. The youth and training facilities have been upgraded. The youth category's gone up to category 1. The stadium has also been increased to 18,079 capacity. Everything about South Shields right now is excellent. It's not just the big players, the big transfer fees, it's about the infrastructure, the facilities they've got. And that's probably what has taken South Shields all the way to the Premier League and back. Let's have a little look at those transfers. Since we left things, they've been splashing the cash. In 2042 they spent £53 million. Season after it was a bit lower, £29.5 million. And in the most recent campaign, they spent a huge for South Shields. I mean, it's huge in relative terms, man. That's a lot of money. £77 million. The biggest signing, Fran Goudia from Manchester City, potentially rising to £31.5 million. That is the biggest signing in the history of the Mariners. Let's have a little look at the wages, see what kind of money they're paying out. And we'll compare it to some other similar teams. Contract info, that's the one we want. The biggest wages they're paying, £71,000 to centre-back Tommy Westlake. Omri Dardon, he's getting 69 grand. Alex Pancadias, 67 grand. Let's have a little look in the Championship, compare those wages. We'll compare them to the league winners, Nottingham Forest. Big winners with 102 points. Their biggest wages, 92 grand. Christ, they are spending a lot of money on wages. Let's compare it to someone else, see if there's anyone a bit more similar. Sunderland, let's compare it to Sunderland. Big local rivals, see what kind of money they're spending. 64 grand. South Shields are pretty much on a par with these kind of teams that are yo-yoing up and down between the Premier League. Sunderland, they went up, they had a season in the Premier League, as did Nottingham Forest, we've just mentioned that. South Shields on a similar par, 82 points there, coming 6th, but beaten in the playoffs. But they've had a taste of Premier League football. They have made it. Now they need to make it back up and solidify themselves there. Can they do it after another 3 years? Let's go another 3 years into the future to 2047. Let's see if the Mariners can make it back to the Premier League once again. Right, here we are, 2047, and South Shields are heading up to the Premier League. They are going up automatically this time. They've came second with 90 points, meaning they are once again going up to the top flight. Since we left things, they haven't been in the top flight. They came 5th in 2045. In 2046 they came 4th. Both seasons beaten in the playoffs. This time they made no mistake, coming second, going up automatically for the first time. And in 2048 they will be a Premier League team. Their reputation, 3.5 stars. That's really damn good, you know. I'm going to compare that to West Ham. Their reputation, 3.5 stars. Newcastle, what's their reputation? 3.5 stars as well. That shows just how big a club South Shields are right now. Compare that to teams in the Premier League. Tottenham, they're only 4-star. Everton, 4-star as well. South Shields aren't far off. Crystal Palace, 4-star. Maybe it's just a Premier League thing. Wolves, what are they? Christ, Wolves, 5-star. Wolves, former Premier League winners. Jesus Christ. Marco Silva, not so much of a fraud anymore. Aston Villa, what are they? 4-star. Maybe South Shields will go up to 4-star once they're in the Premier League. Weirdly, Aston Villa there, managed by Kylian Mbappe, but that's kind of strange. Maybe that could be an experiment in the future, but we'll come back to that another time. Burnley, they're 3.5 star, just like South Shields FC. So South Shields coming second, going up. Jack Collins winning the Golden Boot with 25 goals. Like, check Shields out. Managed by a regen now, Tommy Lomax in 2047. I'm going to quickly check the competitions, just see if they've had any luck in the FA Cup or anything. They haven't. They've had no luck in the Carabao Cup either, but that's fine. That doesn't matter. In terms of league wins, they haven't won a trophy since 2037 when they won League One. Obviously, they got the Championship kind of medal sort of thing for going up, but it's not really a title. That doesn't matter. Let's have a little look at the wages, see what we're paying out. Fran Goudia, who was the most expensive signing at the club last time I checked, 95 grand a week. That is huge money heading up to the Premier League. Let's go to the transfers. see what kind of coin we've been spending. It's been pretty big once again. 2047, 40 million quid. Season before that, it was down at 14 million. And in 2045, 36.5 million. Season before it went slightly up to 88 million. But South Shields are spending big money. They've obviously got over that hitch of wasn't really much point in spending all the money they had. They did right, they invested in the youth facilities and whatnot. It's paying dividends. Let's see if there's been any more landmarks. New chairman, that's fine. Promotion from within because of the way I set the editor at the start of the simulation. But for what's going to be the final simulation in the future, South Shields will be at least have one season in the Premier League. I just hope that come 2050, when we've reached the final year of this experiment, they are in the Premier League and stable. Maybe even a cup win. That would be absolutely perfect. But you know, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Just to be in the Premier League is achievement enough. To have climbed the divisions like they have throughout this simulation, it's been absolutely sensational. But we're going to simulate one more time, 3 more years into the future, to take us to 2050. That'll be 30 years of this experiment, where South Shields are going to have a second spell in the Premier League. But how will it go? Let's find out. Right, here we are on the 17th of May 2050, and South Shields are in the Championship, but they are once again going back up to the Premier League. They're going up as champions this time, 99 points on the board. Let's check how they got on in the Premier League in 2048, and sadly for them, they went straight back down once again, coming rock bottom in 20th. The season after, they came 4th, this time going up as league champions, and they're going to have a third crack in the Premier League. We're not going to find out because I'm not going to simulate this any further. Based on this, South Shields, not good enough for the Premier League, but very, very good in the Championship. I mean, they haven't finished outside of the playoffs since 2041. That was the first season we simulated in Part 3 where they came 19th. Since then, they haven't finished outside of the top 6 in the Championship. They've always been in at least the playoffs. They've had 2 seasons in the Premier League, and on both occasions they came rock bottom. Let's see what happened when they were in the Premier League in 2048. There they are, they came rock bottom, and to be perfectly honest with you, they had an absolute stinker. 3 claret and blue teams going down: Burnley, West Ham and South Shields. Whilst last time they put up a bit of a fight, they weren't too far off survival. This time they only got 20 points. They were 18 points shy of Brighton in 17th place. South Shields, very much a yo-yo club, 30 years into the future. And their finances, and they're no longer a rich club, they are just down to being secure. I mean, that's not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. Let's check the transfers out. They have spent some big money, to be fair to them. They've just spent £46.5 million, and in the season before that, £109 million. The first time in this simulation, they've had a summer spend of more than £100 million. An absolute far cry from the start of the simulation, where they weren't even spending a penny, despite being relatively rich, well, massively rich compared to their rivals. As we've said multiple times, they invested in the facilities. It helped them climb the divisions now. Now they're benefiting from the big advertising money in the Premier League and the Championship. They've been able to invest in the squad, but they've got the facilities to match as well. South Shields, they've gone all the way to the Premier League. Sure, they've only had 2 seasons of the Premier League. They're going to have a third. They haven't survived yet. But what an achievement. And it just shows what a little bit of money can do to a non-league club. Yes, you see these experiments where you get given them £1 billion and it's relatively easy. This time we didn't give them £1 billion. We didn't give them that much money. It was enough though to take them all the way steadily to the Premier League. Before we go, let's have a little look at the wages, see what we're paying. 97 grand, 85 grand, 84 grand. Absolutely huge amounts of money. Have a look at the competitions. No mention of any FA Cup success, no mention of any League Cup success. But to be honest with you, I'm not bothered, because little old South Shields, my local club from down the road, the Mighty Mariners, the one team I've watched play at Wembley and succeed, have made it to the Premier League. And for me, that is a huge success. We are going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Alexpo, and until next time we will see you around.